try and draw a picture of what you would imagine Ozzy Osbourne's wife to look like. If I have not seen a photograph of her, and I guarantee you get about 15 pictures of Elvira sent in. And my wife is nothing like that kind of a person. In fact, I was in my dentist the other week, and my wife was sitting in the waiting room when I was in there, and I'd been having some dental work, and I was goofing around in the dentist chair, you know. And my wife was sitting in the waiting room, and one guy said to a woman, "Oh, obviously very wealthy," and the woman says to the guy, "Yeah, obviously a rock star," and my wife turned around and says, "Yeah, you're both absolutely very right, and he happens to be my husband, so whatever you've got to say it now," and they both absolutely fill their pants, you know. They don't expect that I'm married. I have a normal household. You know, my kids don't. My kids are normal kids, believe it or not. My kids go to a Christian school. My kids are very, very good kids. I mean, I hate it in rock and roll when you see these rock and roll brats, you know, because my dad is so-and-so, so-and-so. I mean, I teach my kids respect. I teach my kids manners. Sometimes they get out of hand, but so if they didn't get out of hand, they wouldn't be kids, you know. But also, the suicide thing has just been cleared at the Supreme Court. Finally, that's gone away. But a lot of people have been asking me what my feelings are towards her, and my feelings towards her are the fact is that people should start looking inside their own home instead of looking outside for an excuse, you know. Because if my son or my daughter starts acting strange, my wife or I or both of us are pretty quick on you know when something's wrong with your kids, and it's ignorance in the home. I would never, God forbid anything ever happened like that to my children. The last thing on my mind would be, oh, it was so-and-so's record that chooses new courses.
Hey, Oz, were you familiar with the Judas Priest suicide case?
Yes.
Were there certain lines being drawn of similarity between the two, your situation with Suicide Solution?
Absolutely.
So was it kind of relieving to you that the error seemed to be being cleared through finally getting this into the courts?
There's always somebody trying to make a quick buck. I mean, it amazes me that throughout the world, my records are sold, and it only seems to be certain parts of the world that these things happen, like California and things, you know. It's like, I don't understand it. I'm not putting it down, I'm not condemning it, but that's the way it is, you know.
Ozzy, just one more question before we let you go, and it is a question that Osbourne fans have called me up and wondered about, and that is, why did you take on the role of the molester in Mr. Tinkertrain?
What?
Under the impression that you were singing as the so-called molester in the song Tinkertrain.
Am I?
Singing from his point of view? No?
No.
Okay.
Well, how's about you interpret what that song is all about, Mr. Tinkertrain?
I do not interpret any of my songs anymore, because when I start interpreting my lyrics, whatever you want to make them lyrics out of, you make them. It's your own choice. I have my view, and so, for instance, I thought for many years Jimi Hendrix was singing "Excuse Me While I Kiss This Guy."
Me too.
and I later found out he was singing "Excuse Me While I Kiss This Guy." That's a classic example of misinterpretation. I'm a songwriter. As such, I am a poet. I'm not, and it gives me a license to do whatever in limit and range to do what I want. It's an art form, and like you ask any painter to explain a painting of a flower, and everybody will see that flower a different way, you know.
Yeah, some things are better left unsaid, right?
So I don't explain anything, because I'll get myself in all kinds of trouble, and it's just taken me 8 years to get myself out of one nut with a Suicide Solution thing, which everybody copped the wrong way, you know.
Yeah.
So from that incident alone, I made a note that I'd never ever explain any of my lyrics again, and I'd rather leave it like that.
I respect that. Here's Ozzy Osbourne, 97.7 Hits FM.